about a Oracle BI Cloud Services March 2016 update. What's new in that? So I'll give people, as we get going at the top of the hour, I'll give people a chance to filter in a little bit. But I do want to tell you all, if you have questions, you can feel free to ask at any time. We'll have a slide on that real soon here to show you exactly how. So with that, let's go ahead and begin. So just so you know where we're coming from, Vlamis Software Solutions is a consultancy based in Kansas City, Missouri, and we've developed all sorts of BI and analytics systems, and I'm an Oracle ACE director. There's all sorts of information on our website at vlamis.com. We are also co-authors of the book on data visualization for Oracle Business Intelligence 11G, and we're also an Oracle University partner and Gold partner. This is in a continuing series of webcasts that we've done basically with every release that's come out from OBIEE and now BICS, where we go through all of the major releases, new features in each of these releases, and what those consist of. And then this is the first time we're doing it on BI Cloud Services, and so this is the webcast that we're going through today on the new features. And so you'll find all of those webcasts, the recordings of those, out on our website at www.vlamis.com. If you look on the papers page, you'll see all sorts of those webcasts available, and you can replay them. Most of them are recorded, and you can even look at them. Some of the stuff, if you want to get at being able to communicate with us, you can put things in chat, or you can put your questions in here. If you end up then typing that in, I'll be able to see that, and then you can type those questions in. I'll be able to see those, and we can see what questions you have, and I'll try to address those as I go on with the broadcast. So just in general, some of the high-level list of new features. We have some new visualizations for Visual Analyzer. We'll get into that. You'll also see that we now have some feature parity with the Data Visualization Cloud Service. I gave a webcast in, I believe it was in December, when Data Visualization Cloud Service was first launched. And there were some new features in that that were not yet in BICS. Now BICS, with this March release, catches up to Data Visualization Cloud Service with some of those features. There are also some additional front-end enhancements in Visual Analyzer that makes it a little nicer to be able to look at these presentations. As well, Visual Analyzer data sets can be sourced from external sources, which is a real boon for doing this. So you can look at that. There are also some additional new features in answers and dashboards. They're not quite as pronounced. Most of the activities is in Visual Analyzer portion of the interface, but there are a few things that answers and dashboards gets, especially from what's happening with the BI12C release that rolled back in November, and we talked about some of the new features in that. There's also the ability to lift and shift from on-premise to cloud. This is something that Oracle has heard loud and clear, I'm sure, that at least when we talk to the people that we work on with implementations, they want to be able to capitalize on the investment that they've made in their on-premise implementations of Oracle BI and lift those up to the cloud. There are also some data model enhancements, including, for now, the multiple subject areas, be able to have multiple subject areas in your BICS implementation. That will greatly enhance our ability to do larger scale implementations of BI Cloud Services. And there's also some security enhancements in there and a few more things. We'll see how much time we have to get into all of these. So then some of the new features, visualizations in Visual Analyzer include a combo graph, the ability to have dual axes will show that, a scatter chart, that scatter graph that allows categorical types of x-axis, and a stacked scatter with the categorical axis, and a new donut graph on here. Those are the specific new visualizations in Visual Analyzer. Specifically what those look like, a combo allows you to have a bar and line together and the ability to have those on different axes and different measures in different axes. You also have a scatter graph with a categorical x-axis, and you can also have stacked scatter charts. So in the graphic that's being shown on the screen on the right side, you can see that we have a bunch of customer names going across. And we can see actually pretty nicely that some of those are between 40,000 and 50,000, and those stand out very nicely in a scatter type of chart of this with bubbles. It's an easier way of doing that, and then we can also obviously color code based on a different measurement and even the size of the bubble based on another measurement. As well, we have a new donut graph that you can put in there, and what that does is that especially adds in the center of the pie graph, in effect, you can put the value of the measure that you're looking at, and the ability to include images in this. We'll show this as part of the demo, but you can see an image and include that, and that's kind of starting to make it so that Visual Analyzer can be used to prepare entire dashboards. It was really seen especially as an exploration tool to look through your data, but now it can be used for putting together dashboards. The images and text then allow for the dashboards. Here's an example that we'll go through more and show, but in this example we've got in the upper left-hand corner the logo of the company here, and then the revenue, and then as well, since you can include text in there, you can drag that up and put, titles if you want to put that separately for this, or any kind of text. And indeed, on the left-hand side, where you get at these things is my navigating. It's really just another visualization type, if you will. And there's a text box and image on here, and you can drag those over to include those in your presentation space. Some of the enhancements then in Visual Analyzer diving into this is some additional filtering. So now we have, when you're filtering, you can use contains, begins, ends, pattern match, that type of thing, and you can choose whether things are case sensitive or not when you're filtering. Very nice. You can also zoom in on the visualizations, we'll show that, and how you can drill to various areas. So there's additional zooming, and as well drill down on anywhere. The ability to drill in this example showing drill to order number and quarter on these. And we'll also show the ability to have insights in here. This is one of the things I picked up from originally exposed to Data Visualization Cloud Service. And now those insights can be reordered, and there are also thumbnails that are available in there as well as you highlight through those. So we'll show that in the example. There's also now, with pulling things from Data Visualization Cloud Service, there's feature parity between those. There's no reason why you need to do just Data Visualization Cloud Service. And then now you have the storytelling ability in here, and the box over here turns on and off this mode, and you can go into storytelling mode and turn on this navigation pane and this storytelling pane through here. And there's also a presentation mode to hide some of the left-hand controls on that. So that enables you, that type of thing is what now is helping in terms of being able to showcase some of this. I was going to show some of this at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and flip in because it just shows so well. It seems a shame not to show some of these capabilities right here in the presentation. So let me jump in and dive into a demo of this and showcase what we have. So for instance, and I'll tell you, I'm using the storytelling mode as a way, I see this especially as being there for giving presentations. So I opted to go ahead and use this as part of showing this presentation rather than opening various different projects and show them. We'll just include them all in one project and use the storytelling feature to tell the story of what's new, if you will, in some cases. So now we have dual axis graphs. Here we have revenue on the left side. This is the blue line as you do this, and as I paint through this, you can see some of the features that have always been in the visual analyzer portion of BICS, but the ability to have those called out as we move our navigation. And as well, now we can have build units is on, in this case, a secondary axis off on the side, and I can see the line for build units. And really what this helps us do is perceive the relationship between revenue and build units very nicely. As well now, we have the ability, if I hover over there, you can see some of the new capabilities that I'll show in storytelling, but scatter graphs now can include a categorical axis. And this is really the way you would want to show these types of values rather than showing them as a line graph. It's really more appropriate given that the x-axis is not a continuous dimension here that has any order other than a alphabetical order. What this allows you to do is then put dots at each one of those, and it's really a different type of scatter chart with a categorical x-axis. Before, scatter charts were really only for if you wanted to look at revenue versus build units and see the relationship between them directly. Now you can do that with this categorical x-axis scatter chart. And then you can see we have a left axis with revenue and a right axis with build units. And all we did was really put dots on each one of those. Finally, the other thing I wanted to show in here is the donut graph in here. And in this case, we're looking at a donut graph with the top, and I've really just picked out 5 of the top products and then shown that with 58 million being the total, and that's added that as a filter. And in the middle of the donut graph now is the revenue of 58 million that you can see. And it's a nice way to, a modification, if you will, to the pie graph to call it a donut graph. So those are just some of the features. Let me come back and, let me also show on the storytelling mode, if I turn this on and off, this will turn off that navigator, and I can add various insights in that way as well. I can, here's another insight, and this left side is turned on with this little light bulb. Normally you would be in here where you can select what kind of navigation you want, but now there's a new pane on the side that allows me to specify different insights. Indeed, there's a button down here for add insight, or I can come in and drag these down. Indeed, I should not have had these. I'm going to go ahead and remove that one and that one, and that's how I can edit these insights. If I turn this back on, you'll see what's going on. For those that are familiar with the data visualization cloud service stuff, I can go in and remove that extra insight and turn these on and look at these, and you can use this to navigate. And as well, as I hover over each one of these, you can see a thumbnail that appears of that insight so that I can navigate through them nicely. It's kind of a nice little feature. In here, if you haven't seen this capability, is the ability to add a new insight. So the way you really use this, and this is how I put together the presentation, is you create whatever you want to see. Perhaps I want to change this visualization to a different type, maybe a standard bar type of presentation of the same data, and then I say, oh, I like that. I click on this plus sign, and now I've got a new insight called Insight 4. I can edit that and say, this is, the way you would do this, these insights encourage you to do something like, looks like comp cell RX3 is doing great. All right, and then when I save this away, these insights are then saved away with the catalog, and then you can include those and include them in your presentation and navigate through them. If you want to hide some of this and focus on the data, If you go into presentation mode, it'll hide all that left panel stuff so that you can go in and show this in more of a presentation. Indeed, I can hide all of that in the browser and really have something that looks nice for presentation purposes. Just click on this guy to bring it back. As well, there's the undo capability that's always been there. Just undo your actions. If you make a mistake on something, I can undo my edit, and that causes it to be in Site 4, or redo that and put the comp cell is doing great, that type of thing. All right, so let me come back to some of the things in here now that I've shown those major features and continue on. Also is the ability now in Visual Analyzer to source different data sets from Fusion Software as a Service applications. And we've shown some screenshots here to show exactly what that looks like. Now we have the ability to create a new data source in here, and when you create that, we have the sample app data source that we use for many of our demonstrations. And then you can create a new data source either from a file. This is where you upload files, for instance, spreadsheets for this, or notice now from Oracle applications, you can create a data source from that. And when you add the connection information, you now can get at the Fusion applications information directly from BI Cloud Services into Visual Analyzer and save that away. Here's where you specify the URL, the username, and password, and you can get at external sources from this. As well, kind of adding to some of the data wrangling features for BICS and Data Visualization Cloud Service is the ability to, I don't know if you all have run into this, we've certainly run into this in our projects, where you go ahead and import the spreadsheet, you're doing some analysis, and now you say, oh, but I want to do something else to that data as well, and make a change to it. You can go in directly to the spreadsheet, and rather than having to bring it all back again, you can go in and edit the data that you're looking at. And indeed, the choices of what you can do to a various column, you'll see that drops down when you click on the side over here. Hopefully I'll have a chance to show this. The choices that you can do to a column change depending on the type of column it is. So since revenue is a number, we have all these choices, such as all the times that you want to take the square root of the number, or various formulas that you want to do to this, and duplicate it, convert it to text, concatenate, all these types of things. And then if it is a textual type of column, notice that some of the types of things we can do is convert it to a number, convert to a date, group, sort, uppercase, and so forth for these. So there's lots of capabilities in here now that we can use this data stage capability to modify the data set after the upload. So some of the things include duplicating, applying various formulas. You can create new columns from expressions and concatenate things together if you want to concatenate multiple columns together. It's a very nice feature. Let me go ahead and show that in here. I think I've got this in here in BI Answers. So here I'm in the Answers portion. I'm sorry, back on the Visual Analyzer. I've got a list of accounts in here, and I've already done some analysis, let's say, on here, and see this contact phone. If I come in here to Stage, click on that, I can come in and make some changes to this. So for instance, this contact phone, I really want a column that includes the area code. So if I come in here and create a column based on contact phone, I can put in here area code, and now I can change the expression to be something like left contact phone. Okay, I picked a simple example in here just to be able to show you what this looks like. And now I've added the column for area code to here. Here it is. Obviously, we need to do some other scrubbing on whether they have parentheses or not. But that type of capability to, after we've already done this, add a new column will be a welcome addition for the projects that we work on. Here's the list of things that you can do in here: delete, hide, all that type of stuff, duplicate that column, and so forth. And that'll help us in our VA projects. Some of the other things that we can do now, where through the Answers and Dashboards interface, there are areas where BICS now catches up to OBI 12C. There's now a new legend view that you can include. It's kind of small on here, but this says red is bad and green is good on here, just to give some type of hints on what's going on. The legend view can include more meaning to your formatting in here in more of an automated way rather than just a simple text box. This is the way we used to do it. There's also a new ticker view, and you can now do the save column as, which really helps out when you're wanting to replicate data. Come down here, there's a new choice if you click on the little gear for something like My Revenue Calc, and you can save that column as something else and then make copies of your data, including if you want to change the formatting or change something about the data that's being presented. This is a nice way of doing it. These were features that were in 12C, and I think we talked about it as new features in various releases of this. Now BICS gets some of this as well. From what I've heard from Oracle, this is kind of going to be the way things go now. Things get added to BI Cloud services, and then they will be periodically rolled into releases of the on-prem product. So at this point, I think you should expect that BI Cloud Services is going to get the features first, and then they will roll to other products. In some cases at the exact same time, but quite often they'll be in BICS first. In Answers and Dashboards as well, we can now include HTML and JavaScript and other types of HTML into the analysis and dashboards. Before, this was not allowed, and now it's supported. So here we've got a link in here that takes you directly to a website in here. So now that enables you to communicate with other systems much more effectively. So notice the link down here. When you click on it, it brings up a web page. Other enhancements are the ability to have a lift and shift of your web caps from on-premise to cloud. This is something where people had at times invested, some of our customers had created various analyses and dashboards and such, and they wanted to then put those up in BICS. Now we can take that using the archive and unarchive feature. You can save that away to a file, unarchive it later. Indeed, I used that to very simply move some of the projects that I had created in one account to another account. And sometimes it's easier than dragging them to just simply archive them to a file and unarchive them. I'll tell you, at Vlamis Software, we use this as well to kind of archive away when you're working on these instances and something happens to a cloud instance where somebody drops the instance or makes a change. It sure is handy to be able to have the work that you've done in terms of creating various presentations available just down on your PC or on a shared drive where you know where it is and be able to move it back up. We use this also to move various analyses and presentations from one instance to another instance. Now, presuming that the status of the data is exactly the same, that type of thing, but often you have a dev test type environment. You can use this to move things through, from one instance to another. You also have the ability to replicate the content from on-premise to the cloud, assuming that you use something like the RPD lift and shift capability, the ability to upload an RPD file from your on-prem directly to the cloud and use that. So that is a better way in some cases of moving content as opposed to a bar file, which is a great capability for moving everything, but sometimes you want to move just pieces of something. There's also a catalog search. The way you can do you can now configure how the catalog objects are crawled and indexed. You can choose which objects or how often. You also have access to the crawl job history of how things have run, and that certainly helps the search experience in being able to keep track of when you last crawled things and be able to look at that more easily. This is what it looks like when you're monitoring the searching. When you're looking at the crawl job status, you can see when these were run, whether they were successful, any problems that occurred, that type of thing. So it's a nice little, filling out of the feature stack. We also have the ability to now have multiple database connections in subject areas. This will help us tremendously in using one BICS account to do multiple things. And so now when you specify a connection, you can choose a new connection and get connected to, you can see the typical host port SID type of connection. You can also specify whether you're going to connect as a different user and a password, and then name these things as you connect to various places. There's also the ability to create keys on this as you get a public key and a private key to keep all of this secure. It's funny, when we were at Oracle Open World, we saw that Larry Ellison had a huge emphasis on security on this, and I think you'll see that this continues throughout all of this cloud offering to try and make sure that all the connections between these are secure. Sometimes, frankly, it drives us a little nuts, but it is, it is the way of the world, and it's what we need to do to make sure that these things are protected, these assets that are created. You can also add new data models. So when you are adding a new data set, often that's in a data model that, think of that as a, if you will, a new star that you want to get at. This is what it looks like when you create a new data model and use what kind of database you want. You can use the default connection, which goes to typically that would go to the schema service that comes with your BICS account, or you can change that to another database if you want to reach out someplace else, if you will. When you add subject areas, we have the support for different multiple independent subject areas. You can see we have two listed on the screen, both recruitment and workforce detail up there, and you can choose as a user which one you want to go in as a model, which one you want to choose. And generally, each subject area is based on one, each subject area is based on one database connection, and there is support for multiple independent subject areas. You can also have concurrent development on a single BICS instance now by subject area. So you can have one instance, one BICS instance accessing multiple databases. Now, users, of course, have to have access to one or more subject areas, and you can control that now based on their access privileges so that some users get access to one place and not to another. And we use this extensively within Vlamis because we have our BICS account that we use for stuff to look at various demo data sets and such and control who can see what. We even have, for instance, a test drive capability I'll talk about later. And this is how the security we use to make sure the test drive people are just doing test drive things. As well, there is secure access to the on-prem data. When you look at this, there's all sorts of things you'll need to read about this in terms of how the security works. There are private and public keys using a JSON web token that controls whether you can get at the data for a trusted type of connection. Rather than trying to go through all of this, I'm going to leave it to those that are interested, especially in doing this, to kind of read through the blog posts, the documentation on this to get at the data. Whether you're going through a DMZ or not, there's lots of options here using a RDC file and such. We also have the ability to do data sync updates. You can create a data set for BICS and Data Visualization Cloud Service. There's really just a new data set target type that you can get it to do this. And as well, there's a BI connector where you can source data from Fusion apps through OTBI. So that allows BICS to get at your Fusion data, and you can see here's an example where in the screen we're importing the data into OTBI from SQL Server, and get at the data, connect to your BI environment to extract that data and make it accessible through your BICS account. You can source from subject areas and saved reports and logical queries. As well, there is a REST API the APIs to the Oracle BI Cloud Service. Think of this as the beginning of this. Really, I just wanted to give you a sense of what's out there. Give the URL here specifically for more information on those REST APIs to allow you to do various tasks. This scrolls down. I only grabbed just the first part of it, but I wanted to show what the documentation looks like for doing things like getting basic information about the schema timestamp or service timestamp. These APIs will allow you to integrate BICS into other types of environments much more easily. So with that, let me show a couple more things in here and show you what this looks like. As well, you can feel free to chat questions on here. I showed the account list. Let me go through a couple more things. Here's an example of the logo with text. So here we've got an example of a dashboard where I've put in here revenue for the current year. Indeed, I can move these around. Let me undo that. I can come in here, and this is new, the ability to take this data and now adjust the size of this text, make it bold, whatever, and including a link in here. I can make links on the text, control the font, all the stuff that you would expect from this, as well as on here, we have inserted a picture. You get at that by looking at the various visualizations. If I scroll down here, you can see where text box is and image. This is where I uploaded our image. And even inside that image, if I click on it, you'll see that a new tab opens up and brings us to our test drive page where you can try these things out yourself. I'll get to that in just a moment. But that way you can navigate to other areas. The way you control that is on these gears. If you click on properties, you can control what's the source. And here there's an interaction place where I can specify various URLs in here. So a lot of the behavior is controlled in that way. And so that's what this would look like. Again, if I put it in presentation mode, the other stuff goes to the side, and you can see what it would look like when you look at this. All right, and then if I come into BI Answers, this is what it looks like for some of the static text with a link. Now we have the ability to come in here and specify in here, this is static text with a link, and now this is what's new. This contains HTML markup. One of the things I didn't show also was the ability to control in here the color palette. We now have the ability to modify these color palettes, although I haven't gotten into actually changing them yet, where in the system we change them, but now I can come in. And really when you're looking at this stuff, you know, the place to look is at, you know, click on the little gears on this and explore around in the interface on this. I can manage my color assignments and specify, you know, what color palettes I want, whether I'm going to use this as the default, the Alta, or change some of these colors in a different way. All right. With that, let me come back and come back to the slides. I do want to point out something else. If you want to actually try this out, I don't know exactly who's on the call. I'm assuming that many of you have BICS accounts, and you can go try this out. I will tell you, let me come back and show you something else. If you want to find out if you're on the current version, if you come down here and specify, I think it's on this area in here, must be in here. Come down and choose About BI Cloud Service. You can find out if you're on the current one. If you look at this 11.1.1.11.0, this is the new one. We have a couple different accounts. One of them is upgraded at this time, and one of them is not, believe it or not. And if this says 11.1.1.10.0, you don't have the March update yet. And so depending on when they actually roll these out to various customers, you'll find out which one you have. That's how you can find out for sure whether you're on the latest release or not. Anyway, coming back here, we do have a test drive available if you're not on the current release and want to, on the latest release, and you want to see what it looks like, or if you perhaps are attending this webcast or you're replaying it and you want to be able to see what this looks like without having to go through signing up for a Oracle BICS account, a trial account, you can certainly try out on ours. And you get to that by www.vlamis.com/tdcloud. I'll tell you, we are just testing out this service to do the test drive. We'd love to have you all try it out. It runs entirely, or it runs on the Oracle Cloud. We have test drives right now for Oracle BICS, the March 2016 version. We also have Oracle Advanced Analytics. If you're interested in seeing what that looks like, initially we have Oracle Data Mining. We have plans to also showcase Oracle R Enterprise, and then we'll be adding more test drives in here as well. Once you sign up with us, you fill out the form. You can get access for about 24 hours. Then we turn it off, and then you're expected to kind of get your own account. But this allows you to get it without any kind of long-term process in doing this. We also include a click-by-click script. And you can also go off-road and do whatever you want because it is a real account. And it's in public beta testing now. With that, I will open things up for questions, see if you all have questions we want to do and talk about, and I'll also include some features. One thing I'll show real quick on here is the documentation. If you want to see that, this is the link for it. It's also available in your account in here. If you just click on Academy, you can also find the documentation in here. If you click on Learn More, this is where all of this stuff comes from. I will tell you, I've looked through the What's New capabilities in here, and I will tell you some of them are in here, not all of them are in here, which is interesting. And then trying to find some of the details, I had to ferret some of this out through the documentation and trying it out, and that's where I ended up showing you some of these. There's some things that I have not gone through in the administration on this, whitelist safe domains and so forth. It's a matter of going through and finding all of these things in here and find out what's new in each release. You should expect that Oracle's going to release other things at other times in here as well. That's where the REST API's documentation. I'll also point out there's some very nice samples in BICS for doing this. If you want to look at that, here's the URL, or you can just Google BI Cloud Service samples from the same group that brings us Sample App that we use in many of our presentations. So let me see if anybody has any questions. You can get at those. Let me go ahead and show you what that looks like on the screen. If you go in the chat box with this little orange arrow, if you've hidden the control panel, that's what this looks like. And you can open up a chat window, or there's a questions pane as well. Type those in, and I'll try and address those as they come in. If we don't have any others, then I'll close the webcast, and thank you all for coming here. I think we're also maybe able to, I can access some people from Oracle to try and answer any questions you all may have. So let me try that. But if we don't have any other questions, I'll let you all go. And
hey Dan.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Alan.
Alan Lee from Oracle on. If there are any questions that you want to ask Oracle from a product standpoint, be happy to answer those.
Alan, thanks for joining. I didn't want to put you on the spot. I knew that you could or couldn't make it, so I appreciate you joining us. Folks, if you have stuff, we also have Alan, who's the product manager for this, in case there's some things that I can't handle. I'd be happy to do that. Alan, let me ask, I don't know how much of the presentation you saw. Anything else you want to highlight? Let me just give you an opportunity while we're waiting for people to type stuff in.
Unfortunately, I joined in the last 6 or 7 minutes, so...
okay, fair enough, Alan. Appreciate it. I know you had a conflict.
I'm sure you had a compelling demo, but
sure.
The majority of it.
I do have one question that came in, Alan, that I saw earlier, and that is, in terms of with Oracle releasing these capabilities on BICS periodically, how do you see, I'll go ahead and ask you directly because it's more of a product management question. How do you see these going out to the field? In what kind of time frame? What do you see as the future of BICS putting out some of these new enhancements that came out with the March release?
I'm sorry, I'm not following the specific question.
So the question is, when Oracle comes out with new releases of this, how
Right.
often will that generally happen in adding to BICS?
Okay. Yeah, so generally we are looking at quarterly feature-based releases. Obviously, from time to time on a monthly basis, we may have maintenance releases where we apply bug fixes, but generally for sort of big feature releases, it'll be on a quarterly cadence.
Okay, thank you. Well, unless I'm missing something, I don't see any other questions that have come in. But let me thank everybody for attending, and Alan especially for joining us to field things that came up. And thank you all for being here. This is being recorded, so it'll be available on our website at Vlamis.com under the papers and presentations area. If there are others that you feel you wanted to be able to see this, and we'll upload that soon. So thank everybody for being here.